We have a couple of jobs. Vince is unbelievable on policy, and we have a policy thing that's going to be unbelievable happening. Should I announce it or should I keep it quiet? I put Vince in charge of the triumphal arc. We're building an arc like the Arc de Triomphe, and we're building it by the Arlington Bridge, the Arlington Cemetery, opposite the Lincoln Memorial. You could say Jefferson, Washington, everything, because they're all right there. And it's something that is so special. It will be like the one in Paris, but to be honest with you, it blows it away in every way. And Vince came in one day and his eyes were teeming. I mean, he couldn't believe how beautiful it was. He saw it and he wanted to do that. That's your primary thing. There is nothing that can compete with that. It's the only city in the world that's of great importance that doesn't have a triumphal arc. You know what that is? And this one is going to blow them all away. The one that people know mostly is the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, France. And we're going to top it by, I think, a lot. The only thing they have is history. You know, 1860 is something, I always say, the one thing you can't compete with, but eventually we'll have that history too. But we're going to have something that the likes of which has never been done before. And it's been waiting for 200 years, literally. I think the Civil War got in the way of it. You know, the opening, they actually have they have four columns, four small columns with the eagles on top. And they have the circle, you know, before on the other side from the Lincoln. And it's so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. It's been waiting for hundreds of years. And they were going to build on it a couple of times. It never happened. But it's a circle that's been waiting to have the arc built on it. And I think we're very far along. I think you might want to show it to the National Trust if you'd like. You might want to show it to a couple of people. Take a look at it. Because I've always gotten really along well with the National Trust. So take a look and show it to them. And start, maybe they give you some good ideas too, okay?
The economy is crumbling. Jobs are disappearing. AI is taking over. And people are using buy now, pay later programs to fund their groceries. But what a perfect opportunity Trump sees to now build an arc, probably in his name, because why wouldn't he? Let me just remind you guys that arcs are built to commemorate military victories, significant historical events, or notable individuals. So who or what do you think Trump might be thinking of building this arc in dedication to? Mike, what do you make of this news of these plans for an arc?
I think that it's pretty weird to be doing at a time like this, like you mentioned. And it is kind of funny to me in terms of, okay, these are for notable people or whatever, but Trump also said they've been wanting to do this for 100 years, you know, other presidents and whatnot. And it's like, so then which is it? Is it, you know, Trump's just getting this thing done because it's been wanted to be done? You know, who's it going to honor? And I doubt it's going to honor like Abraham Lincoln or anything like that, you know, somebody that was around 100 years ago. It's probably going to be about him. So it feels very out of touch. It reminds me a lot of the Great Gatsby party that he had at Mar-a-Lago, while people were literally starving and being denied SNAP during the shutdown. So it just shows that there is no correlation. You know, this guy can't wrap his head around like, oh yeah, everyday people like don't want this arc. They want, you know, food on the table. They want jobs. That's not to say that you can never build an arc even when things are bad, but I think that to sit here and talk about how prestigious it is to do so and to make it a priority when literally we've got our ACA subsidies expiring in like a couple weeks, and that's going to double or triple people's healthcare rates overnight. You know, it's just poor timing, poor taste, but hey, that's Trump. That's what he does best. And also, after hearing him talk about how we're the only significant country that doesn't have a triumphal arc, I actually Googled like how many countries have them. And there's a few, but just to list them off, you have France, obviously, Italy, Germany, Russia, Spain, Mexico, North Korea, Laos, India, Romania, and Australia. And the U.S. already has one, and it's in New York. So it is kind of weird to be like, well, we don't have one. Now, I understand maybe having one at the capital is different. So what about countries like the UK, for example, or China? China's very significant, and they don't have one. You've also got Canada, and the list goes on and on and on. So the rationale used to do this just doesn't compute. If you want to build an arc, I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with it. But I do think that it's extremely out of touch to be doing it now, and with the messaging that they're using, no question.
Yeah, and he's spending $300 million from his rich buddies to build this ballroom. He's destroyed, a third of the people's house, the White House, for his little pet project, which has been just a disaster so far. We covered that in another video. Like you mentioned, the SNAP benefits that expired for a little while all this was going on. The tariffs, the Trump tariffs that have absolutely wrecked this economy. I mean, every sector of this economy is feeling the pinch from these tariffs. There was, of course, the inflation problem before, which Trump promised to solve. But then these tariffs, I mean, look at what happened with soybeans. We had trusted partners trading from China, buying soybeans from U.S., boosting the U.S. soybean supply. And China said, F you, we're going somewhere else. We're going down to Brazil because we don't want to deal with your silly tariffs and this stupid trade war. Look at what happened with beef. Trump sold out the U.S. beef farmers for Argentinian beef. Just time after time, this administration seems to undermine Americans and the idea of America. And like his campaign was all about making America great again. And, we're going to finally do things right. And everything's going to be done here. And it's America first. Meanwhile, he's waging war with Venezuela that nobody asked for, calling it a thing about drugs when everybody knows it's about the oil. I mean, it's preposterous, the point that we're at with this administration. And then to just hear him talk about building a triumphal arc, probably more aptly named the Trump arc, is just ludicrous. I mean, at this point, how much further can you put the people who voted for you at odds with you? They're waiting for you to fix the economy. They're waiting for higher wages. They're waiting for jobs to come back. They're waiting for manufacturing to come back to the United States. And you're talking about building an arc. That's going to employ, 50 people? And then the project's over? Like, that is not a solution to anything. That is just another excuse to put your name on something. And what can we expect from Trump? This is just what he does. Like, we need to know that by now, 10 years after he's entered the political arena, we should know by now that this is Trump. A lot of us knew this years ago, but it's time for more and more people to wake up. This is who he is. He doesn't care about you.
Yeah, exactly. And we know that real estate and development and whatnot is supposed to be his MO. That's supposed to be his expertise. In a way, this could even potentially be some sort of weird ploy to like make him look appealing because it's like, hey, I'm doing what I do best. But none of it adds up no matter which way you slice it. So I don't really understand why they're doing all this. But I think that another important thing to point out too is that this administration in particular, they created Doge. The whole point is to cut and to save and to, be conservative and bring down the debt and all this other stuff. And it's like, how much money is this project going to cost? So it's just more, do we need an arc? No. So therefore, conservatively, we shouldn't be building one. We should use that to go towards our infrastructure or to our military or to anything, because clearly they're not going to put it towards healthcare or, feeding people. They're working with AI to take people off of SNAP benefits now. So it's no matter which way you cut it, like you said, they don't care.